thank you all. Let me introduce myself again, as some registered colleagues are sitting together. I'm from the Hong Kong Vice Principals Association, Hui Chung Shing Memorial School, and I teach design and technology. Next to me is Mr. Lam Pawa, who also teaches technology and life skills, and design and technology at our school. I coordinate experiential learning and teach design and technology, while Mr. Lam is the subject head. Both of us use self-directed learning to promote it. Soon, I'll cover one part, and Mr. Lam will cover another. I'll start with a brief introduction. Many of you attend EDB courses and know the Secretary for Education said this morning that self-directed learning is important. I'll explain what self-directed learning is, how to use it to promote learning, and how to add its elements. After that, we'll discuss catering for individual differences. Mr. Lam Pawa and I both teach at the same school, and all our students are SEN students with different needs. There are many types, some are very capable, others less so. How do we support them? After I finish, I'll hand over to Mr. Lam. Recently, we promoted self-directed learning platforms at our school. We've developed some platforms, which we'll show and share with you. Later, Mr. Lam will discuss teaching kits. We've also made some. You have a mini kit in your hands, which we're giving out for free. There's also information about our school, as different schools have different contexts. There are different approaches, and there should also be some questions later. We have a deluxe version of the teaching kit, and if you actively answer questions later, I'll have small gifts to give out. Lastly, I brought 2 students here today. They're going to sing for us. They said they're nervous about being on stage. I picked Form 3 students to meet everyone. They behaved well and prepared materials to share. They'll be helping us out. We brought 3 sets of their works, including some STEM projects. We've invited models to come and let everyone see the works in person, so you can check them out live. At the end, there will be time for posting. Everyone will have 5 minutes to post something. All right, let's get to the main topic. Have your students ever told you that they study just for exams? That they study for tests? Maybe your daughter or your students have said that they study for tests and exams to move up a grade to get into university. They only study after getting into university, and further studies are just for finding a better job. Is that what you think? Maybe you do. But if you say, as teachers and educators, that education isn't just for employment, not just for further studies, not just for exams, if it's purely like all of you, where you freely sign up for whatever you want to learn, with no restrictions, and the principal says, we have a spot in liberal studies, why not take education studies? You can study whatever you want. Wouldn't that be great? If your students were like that, in class, wanting to learn whatever they're interested in, what would you do to help them? Or is it still your learning framework? Next, there are 8 multiple-choice questions. Count in your head how many of these apply to you. Let's do the first one.
For example, classifying and processing information, handing in a pile of mistakes.
Would you give them a nudge or ask them about it?
Encourage them to think and explore. Try to give as few instructions as possible, and let them try to find the answers themselves.
Third, 4th question.
Use praise to let them experience the joy of finding the answer. Would you do this? Ask them to check their own work to see if it's done properly, and guide them on problem-solving methods instead of just pointing out their mistakes.
The last 2 questions.
Avoid helping too early or too much, and don't just give them the answer. Encourage them to reflect on the feedback given by the teacher and improve their learning.
When you do a project, do this. If you have 7 or more kicks, there's a worker behind you separating 3 workers. Here is a crafted illustration of the teaching material, ready to use. I spent a year writing and wanted my signature, but it's just a joke. What does this mean? The more kicks you have, the more independent thinking you foster in students. Many studies show this helps develop children's thinking and independent learning. Don't encourage them too quickly. Let them go step by step. What is independent learning? I enjoy checking the Education Bureau's website. Make a schedule. Let's look. According to the Education Bureau, autonomous learning isn't just one concept. It includes self-adjusted, independent, and self-directed learning. Also, autonomous learning should be promoted. Many studies show it supports student diversity. These are by many experts. Don't doubt it. Even after reading, you may not know what they are. Simply put, autonomous learning is a process. You can check the slide later. Autonomous learning is a process you already do, not something new. In this process, your students will take the initiative to find out what they want to learn, set some goals, then think of ways to achieve those goals, and there will be reflection. Doesn't it sound very advanced and difficult? That's not the case. What's the process? It's like project-based learning or regular education. First, teach students to set a goal and identify needs, not what you want them to learn, but what those girls, those students, actually need. Then, plan solutions and discuss them step by step, like seeing a doctor. How should your organization proceed? Guide them. Third, carry out activities to solve the problem. Some activities for the problems he solves will be reviewed later. When they face difficulties, encourage them. Understand? They need to solve problems. The key is evaluation. They need to know how much they've learned. The amount learned isn't as important as knowing it. After finishing the loop, what they've learned should be used in the next study. If after the loop, the skills aren't used, that's not right. Learning about yourself and learning itself are connected. What's the link? The Education Bureau promotes research. Research and education are like parallel tracks. Independent learning and research go together, and students are like trains moving toward goals. This is how research and independent learning connect. Do you know what research is? What's the science behind it? You might ask students. The Education Bureau wants to separate creativity and problem solving. So, how do you promote research? What do teachers do? Some elderly people have difficulties in daily life, and we let them solve these by doing projects. The key to self-directed learning is to improve learning ability and move forward together with research. This is how we promote research through self-directed learning. The old goal was just to get the best seat randomly. Next, I've talked about some theories. You can actually find all this online. If you want to know more, you can stay behind, get a card from me, and we can talk more. Today, I want to point out that the relationship between research and research is like train tracks running side by side, not crossing. Later, Mr. Lam Pawa will talk about teaching materials. We'll show you some teaching and learning clips to watch together. But before that, I want you to get to know the school, because different school systems and missions may affect how you promote research or self-directed learning. Mr. Lam Pawa and I both teach at a special school. What is a special school? It's a school that helps students overcome temporary difficulties in their growth stage. Some students stay briefly to address behavioral issues before returning to their original schools, while others remain from Form 1 to Form 6, completing the DSE and then moving on to further studies. When these students join us, their motivation and ability may be weak. Some have said, "I haven't attended classes for 2 years. I was just in a counseling room every day." We gradually teach them at our school. There are 8 Type 1 schools in Hong Kong, 5 for boys and 3 for girls. The girls' schools are Mingoi, Pui Lap, Lok Yen, and Malay 1. The boys' schools are Chan Nam Chung, Tung Wan, Mok Lai Sui, and Wai Wa. The Hong Kong Wai Yao Association manages 3 schools, including Chen Yen Center and a new center. Mr. Lam Pawa and I teach science and biology at Hui Cheng Xing Memorial School, where we have primary 5 and 6, and secondary classes from Form 1 to Form 6. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Lam Pawa to share more about our school's education.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce how we promote self-directed learning, since we've discussed it for a while. Earlier, we mentioned setting up 2 databases. You can take a photo, or actually, I'll enlarge it for you now so you can scan it right away. As soon as students go online, they can see all our teaching content. Our databases are all there. There's also another one. The previous one was for junior secondary, and this one is for senior secondary. Inside, we have Noxapalpone and some teaching videos as well. So, these self-learning platforms are all teaching resources. But how do we actually promote self-directed learning? We have 3 approaches. First, we want them to learn independently. The platform I just mentioned is for self-learning. We've also created a lot of our own teaching videos in-house, filming and designing them ourselves, and we will turn them into flipped classroom materials. For example, we have groups where students watch these videos before class, and they find them interesting because the topics are related to their lives. For instance, we use themes they enjoy, like the Marvel series. We might make Marvel costumes and have students film videos. They find it fun, especially when they see classmates in colorful costumes. In the videos, they pay more attention when watching. In our group, with the 2 websites I mentioned, we assign them topics to preview. So when they return, they've already done the self-learning, and when they want to learn, it saves them time. The second part is peer learning. Peer learning is what we often discuss. If you know these SEN courses, you'll know we mention heterogeneous grouping. In our group, some higher ability students lead those with lower ability, or they just have different traits. Some are talkative, some are quiet, but maybe good at writing. So, we group them by their strengths. In this process, groups work together on research projects or interdisciplinary topics. At this stage, they can really play their roles, or sometimes in collaborative tasks, we assign them multiple roles to take on. This is the peer learning part. Finally, we have collaborative learning. After they've done the group work and the production process, each group has to come out and present. Of course, our format is quite flexible. We don't restrict them to just standing here and speaking like I am now. They might make a video, put on a skit, or use any format they like to present. Maybe later there'll even be a fashion show. There are no limits for them. So, this is actually the main approach we promote. As for learning, there are 3 main areas, these 3 types of learning. Through these, students can achieve self-directed learning. Just now, we also introduced that everyone has a booklet in hand, which is one of our interdisciplinary teaching materials. Today, we've brought along the Form 4 level to share with you. We have 5 subjects in our interdisciplinary curriculum. If you want to know in detail how each subject operates, or how our school or your school can implement this, we can start by talking about that. First, we actually choose a real-life theme, or sometimes a related topic where they can really show what they've learned. We don't set strict limits for them. But taking the Form 4 example in your booklet, you'll see that they're tasked with designing a wearable computer. This project usually lasts about a month and is quite flexible. They're given certain scenarios to work with. Now, this group of students I supervised suggested, with the upcoming Christmas. There are some balls to attend, so they thought about wanting to wear a set of outfits, one for the male lead and one for the female lead. When they touch hands, the clothes would light up. So, what elements did they use here, or how did they think to make this idea come true? Actually, they filmed a video to represent their idea. Unlike me, who just shakes hands, they imagined that if a boy and a girl both wore the outfits and touched hands, actually, the girl's outfit would light up. So, what's the theory behind this experiment? What elements did they include? Actually, they used a proximity switch. That means there's a switch in the palm, and even if you just get really close without actually touching, the clothes will light up. It works with one hand or both hands. They also did a great job finding some girlfriends. You know, we guys found some friends to join them in filming this video. As I mentioned earlier, this is the result of their work. But how did we divide up the tasks? First, it's a bit like home economics back in the day, but in this fashion project, we worked with them on fabric design. We had 10 groups, so how did we arrange that? 2 groups helped with conceptual design sketches, 2 did paper patterns, and 4 taught sewing. This is part of our subject. Students draw designs and sew using machines, not just by hand. They already learned basic skills in junior secondary, but in senior secondary, they get real hands-on experience. For the second part, we collaborate with the science subject, which is more theoretical and abstract. We introduce some electronics, like the theories behind computers and what makes drones able to fly. The third part is about design and technology, or D&T. In this subject, we take the abstract concepts from science and put them into practice. Students really have to get hands-on, like taking some scrap materials, figuring out how to connect electronics, or how to attach things to clothing. All of this happens in D&T, which is roughly a quarter of the curriculum. The fourth part is mathematics. Earlier, we talked about sliding, which connects to science, but think about it, kids might not know about proportions. For example, how many centimeters does a skirt need to be to cover properly? They might not know, so in mathematics, we teach them about scaling and proportions. Lastly, there's Chinese. As we mentioned, there are design drawings, but students also need to use words or records, whether it's audio recordings, written text, or sketches, basically, any method to document their process. They record their results, and eventually, there will be some midterm presentations. In fact, one of the video segments is also part of their presentation content. Also, as I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in learning more about our Form 4 curriculum, we also have other topics in Form 3, and there are videos you can scan or take a photo of to revisit later. Due to time constraints, we won't go into too much detail here. So, this is the waterproof multifunctional cover. This group of students also made the case themselves, and apart from working on this project, they also went out. They participated in some competitions and won some awards. So, after talking so much just now, what exactly is the connection between self-directed learning and STEM? The most important thing is, actually, we use all these as elements, but what we really want to do is to cater to the diversity of our students. Why? Because, as I mentioned earlier, when they work in groups, They all have different abilities, really, especially in our school. The range of abilities is huge, and there are many different characteristics. Through these activities, we hope they can showcase their strengths. To be honest, we talk about this a lot, but how do we actually do it? As teachers in a school like ours, even though I haven't been here for very long, we try to understand their characteristics in the shortest time possible. Through these activities, we can quickly find out what their interests are. For example, today I brought some students, and it's always been a learning process. Honestly, there might be some hiccups with them. The plans we discussed aren't guaranteed to succeed. We have to try them. Sometimes, colleagues have also faced situations where what I'm promoting isn't what the students like, and we've hit roadblocks. But it's through these processes that we understand what they want, or what we've introduced that can help them learn. They start by working in small groups, as I mentioned, and from there they begin to gain a sense of achievement. Afterwards, as they finish presenting, or as I mentioned, some joint competitions or, like today, I bring them to this expo, the things they gain are actually much more than what we get. It's really through these activities that they build self-confidence and self-esteem. You'll notice that at first, they may be rebellious and won't listen, but once they experience achievement, you'll start to see. You'll really see some changes in them. So here, actually, as teachers, to sum up, when we're taking care of their diversity, of course I understand it takes a lot of our time. As I mentioned earlier, we create our own teaching materials, and I hope that STEM and the self-learning component here can help everyone. Because, as a speaker, I know it's easy to just talk confidently about theory, but it's much harder to actually do it. After talking for so long and watching for so long, it's getting a bit boring, so let me hand the time back. We're going to have a little performance now. I actually brought 2 outfits with me. The first one is a denim skirt. This is one of the wearable computer designs by a group of students I mentioned earlier. They used a lot of old denim skirts from teachers and classmates at school, skirts that people didn't want anymore. Normally, a denim skirt by itself isn't very special, but they wanted to remake it so that, like a peacock, it could shine and stand out at a certain moment, just like when a peacock fans its tail. So this student's design, plus some eco-friendly concepts, makes it really unique. So I brought this outfit along. Outfit.
Our school is near Apliu Street in Shamshuepa, so that outfit from our school was great. I liked it. When free, we go to Golden Computer Arcade or Apliu Street to see cheap, cool electronics. They're assembled piece by piece, and you can watch models walk to the back for staff to check. Everything is put together step by step, and now only the batch with plugs is left. The shoulders are done. Over summer, teachers and students collected jeans and added stamps. Most importantly, you have to do it yourself. Get hands-on.
Next, we also want to thank our man, and let's invite your classmate as well. This classmate actually came up with the idea because he was thinking, nowadays we have a lot of flight attendants, but he thought a bit more out of the box. He imagined that maybe 10 or 20 years from now, there could already be spaceships for space travel, so he wanted to design a uniform for these space attendants. But one day, he was watching some videos on Douyin and realized that there are now many new types of display screens, not just limited to the iPad or phone in your hand, or a TV screen. He thought of a display that works kind of like a fan. Can we ask Vika, our model, to help demonstrate? So he was thinking, if we keep carrying an iPad, it's really heavy, but this thing, which looks like a fan, can display things. Maybe in the future, menus in space can be shown like this. It's very light and easy to carry. Besides the whole design being very sci-fi, he also used some tech elements that are quite rare and special nowadays to bring something new to everyone.
Be careful when walking around. Originally, one of our classmates made a transparent LED cover, but if you bump into that spinning thing, it could be dangerous. So it's better to just look from a distance. Don't get too close. We also encourage students to create videos and incorporate them into the project. Some students even put the school menu, like what dishes are being served, into this element. If you were to buy this set in the US, it might cost over $100,000, but if we buy the parts from AP Lou Street and make it ourselves, then convert it into this form, it's really cheap. Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause, and also to the two students at the back. Both of our students from Class 3C came to help out today and helped us distribute some flyers. If you have any questions, we'll have a Q&A session later where you can ask.
For the third set, let's give them some time, because this morning, one of our original models got sick and couldn't come. Just now, I saw a female student from neighboring Kung-Lee College. She was great, even though I didn't know her. I asked if she was competent to do a quick change and model clothes for us. She agreed, so I went with our staff to help her change. The concept behind this outfit is impressive. She asked, "What skills does this outfit represent?" Actually, there are some. She told me, "Teacher, I see news every day. What kind of news?" After a wedding, the bride and groom are carrying hundreds of thousands, maybe 200,000 or 300,000 in cash and gold jewelry. She said, if you install 100 cameras, you could capture everything, and no one would notice, not even people at the wedding. If the model or bride had something like the first outfit, she could capture the guests' faces, just like how you're all looking at her now and saying congratulations. When she goes home, she can relive and savor your well wishes. Her words too, so we spent time with her, installing 100 cameras with a media device. We added a mini computer and taught you programming. Inside the dress, we installed 100 cameras, letting her capture reactions in 360 degrees. Her congratulatory speech and the atmosphere can be reviewed later. The nighttime anti-fraud effect is important. Throughout the day, bots blocked the bride, sometimes tens or hundreds of thousands. She also had a small effect on her hand, like a daughter-in-law, greeting guests and saying thank you during the banquet. If, at the end, there's a little effect that satisfies guests, that's even better. Next, this is from Kung-Lei High School, Sun. What's the name?
Give some applause.
Ina, give some applause. This is next door, placed beside you. Of course, you can pass the next door Gonlei High School. The whole process uses 100 cameras. We installed Suowei School's famous tune and wrote a program, which I will show later. Do you think it is really captured? We simulated a video. Why can we record a certain video? We have some red lasers in our hands. It must be red. You can go to the back and show it to the teacher and classmates. At noon this year, the whole set of cheongsams is traditional. We added applause elements and installed 100 cameras. All computers are fun and can connect to the internet. If new, you can go online immediately. The whole set of clothes is like this. Thank you, classmates. The 3 works are here. Let's do a trade summary. Give me some time. This is the effect. What is the effect of the recording? It will show the whole cycle. You can watch the defense environment or learn enough in the split scene. In fact, the last sentence said if STEM education and only collective integration can change everyone's classroom, but if we as teachers and educators don't do it, it will affect our next generation. Think about your children. Children in the past 10 years may not know anything except understanding nothing. But on the other hand, we STEM people believe integrating subject knowledge with science, math, and dynamic technology will change the world and the future. You have so many students. Thank you, everyone. We share today's explanation here. Any colleagues have questions? If you have time, please ask.
Actually, I want to ask, during the implementation of this project-based study, were there any adjustments made to the original curriculum? Did you have to reduce some lessons in order to free up enough time to make this possible?
Teacher, which school are you from and which school is it?
Protecting the two countries is.
Since we'll get to know each other, that's a good question. This is one of 4 key Education Bureau projects. Special research is necessary. Some schools only do it briefly. We talked to curriculum teachers and colleagues about the 4 key points. Special research is needed. We usually lead and take it slow. We pay attention to colleagues and discuss the special research our school needs. We work across disciplines and with collaborating colleagues. That time must be used. If the curriculum is tight, we can do it in 2 weeks. As a group school, we can tailor our curriculum so it will span 2 months. It's not surprising, but because we have many children, they're very interested. The diversity is huge. We don't need these topic studies or new self-learning methods. For example, we'll share later when possible. We use topic study teaching to help children promote topic studies. It's effective. If you do topic studies, what do they usually do? Copy and paste. But with topic studies, there's no promotion problem. If needed, come to our school and we'll discuss it. Call us and we'll share more. This must be discussed with the principal and academic director. We need to make time. Talk to the Education Bureau about topic studies. We can't avoid them. We need to decide based on the process. Any other colleagues? If not, I'll give my time to the conference.